everyone, this is my updated how to smock video. My first video was really poorly edited and well, I can do better, so let's get into this. The most common way to smock is to use 3 strands of embroidery floss. Personally, embroidery floss is not my favorite material to use since you gotta keep it flat, which I'll explain in a second, but if you can smock with this stuff, other options such as pearl cotton are much easier. So with embroidery floss, you'll first separate into how many strands you're using. Most common is to use 3 strands. An easy way to separate the strands is to pinch the floss and pull out 1 strand from the bunch. Once I have all my strands pulled out that I'm going to use, then I like to run each strand through my fingers to get out any remaining tension. Then I bring them back together and kind of smooth them over by running them between my thumbnail and finger. And as far as needles go, I prefer to use sharps or millimeters. They're basically the same shape needle, it just sort of depends on the size. So to begin, I turn my work on the wrong side and then go through 2 pleats. I go through these pleats again to create a loop and then go around the loop twice and pull tight. Now I've tied onto my work and I can bring my needle to the right side of my work. I'm bringing that first stitch just to the left of that pleat, and this is what I was mentioning earlier about keeping your floss flat. You don't want it twisted like this. You want it flat and smooth like this. So the first stitch I'm going to show is the cable stitch. You'll go over to the next pleat and keeping your needle parallel to those pleating threads and your thread above your needle, complete your first stitch. It takes 2 pleats to make 1 stitch. Now my thread is below my needle and I go over to the next pleat to make the second stitch. And I keep alternating my thread above and below my needle as I continue to stitch the cable stitch. I don't iron or add any wax to my floss, but I do turn it as I smock to make sure that floss stays flat. You can use your needle or thumb or whatever to wiggle those stitches into place. You don't want to see any gaps. You also don't want to pull too tight, and I'll get into more on that in a bit. So I'm moving on to the outline stitch. I come up to the left of the pleat just like before, and this is really similar to the cable stitch, except this time you're going to keep your thread above your needle. You'll keep stitching to the next pleat and keeping your thread above your needle. You'll see how the stitches kind of stack onto each other, and the result is this pretty rope-like look. On the flip side, if you keep your thread below your needle, you'll do the stem stitch, and the two together is kind of a neat look as well. I can't remember if this has a term, it might be herringbone, but don't quote me. Anywho, moving on to the wave stitch. You'll start this stitch like any other, going up to the left of that first pleat, then you'll go over just like you're doing the cable stitch to complete the first stitch. But with the second stitch, you'll jump down a space or maybe 2 spaces, and that's up to your desired look. Then you can do the second stitch and go back up to the first row to complete the third stitch. Notice the thread position in relation to the needle keeps changing, but if you could forget to change this position, that's not a big deal at all. Just slide your needle through the stitch and you'll be good to go. Oh, and this is what I was talking about earlier about the tension. You don't want to pull too tight as I'm showing here. That results in pleats that look squashed. But if you do pull too tight, just wiggle that stitch loose with your needle. So the last stitch you should learn for basic geometric English smocking is the trellis stitch. And the type of trellis stitch depends on how many stitches there are in between the top and bottom, and I'll clarify that in a second. So I'm doing a 3-step trellis, so I'm trying to stitch about 1/3 of the way down, and then about 2/3 of the way down, and finally down to that bottom row. After doing a stitch across, and this is the bottom stitch, then you'll have half of the trellis design. You'll have the top and the bottom, same as the wave stitch, but since there's 3 stitches in between, this is called a 3-step trellis. If there were 4 stitches, it would be a 4-step trellis, and so forth. And there you have it. These are the basic stitches of English smocking, and this is also sometimes called geometric smocking. These stitches can be combined in many different ways to create all sorts of designs. This bodice has been smocked using pearl cotton in a 5-step trellis design. And then this little number, well, it's been loved on and it needs an ironing, but you can see there's a row of cable stitches sandwiched together with the wave stitch. And then there's a wave stitch sandwiched together with a 3-step trellis. Now this bishop features 2 cable rows, and then 2 rows of wave stitches, and then finally 3 rows of 3-step trellis. And this bishop has a kinda 3-stitch cable pattern done as a wave, if you will. You can see there's 3 stitches in a row, and then it drops down like the wave does and goes back up, and I think you get the idea. The possibilities are endless. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching and I hope to catch y'all next time.